Hi, David Wallimann here. Thank you for joining me for today's Q&A. We have 4 questions today. Usually we have 3. We have 4 today. These questions were submitted by you guys. So if you have any questions, whether it's guitar related, music business, whatever, just leave them below. I'll be happy to pick my favorite ones and answer them. And the ones that I don't like, I just ignore, pretend that they're not there. They're all good though. You guys are awesome. Well, let's get started. The first one is from Jefferson Robinson. And Jefferson is asking 2 questions really, but I grouped them into one. He's asking about my guitar. So Jefferson asks me, what do you like mostly about your guitar? Also, you seem to favor the Axe 2. Yes, the Axe Fx 2, Fractal Audio Axe Fx. In your opinion, what would be a reasonable, cheaper alternative? Okay, let's get started. As far as guitar goes, I'm assuming you're talking about the main guitar that I use. It's this Ibanez premium guitar. I have other guitars that I use for different jobs, but this one has been my main guitar for the last few years. It's an Ibanez RG Premium. I believe the model is 920. I never remember those kind of things. And I don't even know the specs of this guitar, but I reviewed it on my channel, so I'll link it. This is not produced anymore, this exact model. I was really lucky to get one of these when it came out. It was the Premium series. For some reason, they don't make the exact same model anymore. I think it's some kind of legal issue. I don't know. I heard that. Someone told me it was a legal thing. But anyways, I'm really glad I got one. It is really affordable, but it plays like a very expensive guitar. I remember exactly how much I paid for it. I paid $666 for this guitar. And it really plays and feels like a 3,000 guitar. Yeah, like a really high-end guitar. It feels like the Prestige guitars, Ibanez Prestige, which is their higher top of the line. And the neck is very comfortable. So when I buy a guitar, I don't go with like specs as far as I want this wood, I want this type of frets, I want this. I've never been like that. I've been more of a, I'm trying the guitar. If it feels good to me, then that's the guitar that I need. Every once in a while, I just buy online. I did that with my Ibanez 7-string recently, a few months ago, and I was not disappointed, but I kind of knew about, their necks and the Ibanez models. I've been playing Ibanez for a long time. I really like them. My story with Ibanez started when I was 20. As you might know, I'm French. I was born in South France, and I'm French. Moved to the States about, I can't remember, a long time ago, maybe 13 years ago or so. I can never remember these things. And back in France, when I was 20, I participated in this contest in France, and long story short, I became endorsed by Ibanez Guitars. That endorsement stopped after 3 years because they realized how bad of a player I was. And no. At the time, I didn't really have a band. I didn't really pursue that thing as far as the marketing thing. There was no YouTube, there was no internet, there was no this. And if you didn't have a band touring on the road, it was difficult to keep your endorsement. And also, the guy who was taking care of me moved from Ibanez to Fender Guitars, and my account kind of got lost in the shuffle, and I didn't really pursue it. What a shame. Anyways, I've been playing Ibanez guitars for a long time, and I got this. I tried it, and it was awesome. It's very comfortable. The neck is thin. It just fits my playing very well. But I'm not going to tell you about the specs because A, I don't know them, and for me, they never really spoke much. It's more about I need to try it. Does it feel good? If it does, great. If it doesn't, move on to the next one. As far as the Axe Fx, yes, I love the Axe Fx too. So as far as cheaper alternatives, there are some, definitely. And I'm a strong believer that really gear is as good as what you make it to be. So really, you can take any device and make it sound good, I think. Or so far, that's what I've found with other musicians. And it's not the gear itself, it's what you do with it. DigiDesign 11 rack is a great option, I think. That's what I started with, and I moved on to this because I got seduced by their ads, really. And that's what I wanted from the start. Could I have done some interesting things with the 11 rack if I kept it? Honestly, yes. I love the Axe Fx. I'll never go back. I'm so used to it, and I really, really, really like it. But that doesn't mean there's other options out there. Even Line 6 has some good products, really, I think. If you go to Guitar Center and try, a Line 6 amp, people kind of make fun of those amps because they sound very fake and just overdone, the factory presets. But you get a Line 6 amp and you spend time dialing it in, maybe taming some of the effects a little bit, you can get some great tones out of it. I really think you can. I think there's this elitist mind sometimes when it comes to gear where people kind of like think that are very faithful to a particular brand and anything else is just not good, but it's just not true. Use your ears, and there's definitely other options, but the one that I have used before this was the 11 rack. There's quite a few videos on my channel using that, and I was really happy with it. So, yeah, that's what I would suggest. The second question is from Hugh. I'm guessing maybe he's French. Thank you for asking this. It's about harmony and shreddy licks. I'll read you the full comment, and then I'll condense it into a shorter version of the question. But here's what Hugh is saying. I'm starting to get a hang of understanding modes over chords, thanks to you. However, what about faster licks? Let me explain. You hear shredders often, and a lot are very uninteresting. I don't know what you mean, just mechanical. Basically, they just shred random notes that are in the correct key without considering the backing track and just, okay. But what about fast lick passages within a melodic solo? Like Paul Gilbert, Petrucci, Andy James. Every time they play a fast lick in the middle of their solo, it's not only impressive in terms of speed, but it also sounds good. To finish a fast lick on a specific note, using the same logic you taught us, is one thing, but what about the group of fast notes? I tend to just fill up the fast passage with mode notes in order. Okay, so I think there's several things. First of all, it's not an absolute rule that that's going to sound good. What sounds good to you is not going to sound good to other people. But I think I know what you mean, and I think what you're talking about is sequences, where it's not just going up and down the scale really fast, but it has kind of a movement, kind of a melodic appeal to it, and using some intervals. It's about sequences. So instead of just going up a scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, or 8 and 1, same. Sorry, I get carried away. I think the idea is to not just do them in order, but do sequences like maybe 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, and so forth. Having some kind of logic and sequence, because the listener is going to understand the pattern, and whenever there's something that the listener recognizes, like a pattern, or you've done that with a song, you hear a song from an artist you really don't like, but you hear it enough, you start humming it. Well, same with music. It's sequences. So melodic sequences is what you should look into. And guess what? I have a course called Melodic Sequences on my website, guitarplayback.com. You should check it out. But yeah, that's what you want, I think. And having some kind of melodic sequence within rhythm, and of course landing on the right note too. That's going to help. But that's what you should do. Okay, the last question. Okay, this last question is from a Guitar Infusion student who asked me this, and I thought I would cover this here. It's about the CAGED system. This person is asking me some clarification on the CAGED system. So I'll just read you the email that he sent me. I was trying to find the referenced chord shapes, CAGED, which spells CAGED, within the pentatonic or Dorian mode, and trying to use the CAGED system to locate the respective chord shapes within these scales, thinking that the names of the chords used in the CAGED system, CAGED, should match up with the names of the pentatonic shape names. but I'm having some difficulty visualizing some of these shapes and wondering if they're supposed to literally have the note names of these respected chords and retain the same shapes. So basically, I'm gonna tell you what the CAGED system is, and hopefully that'll answer the question. The CAGED system is a system proper to guitar players. If you mention the CAGED system to a piano player, he's not going to understand. This is very guitar-driven thing. It's meant for guitar players, and it's a way to organize your thoughts on the fretboard. The idea is that there are 5 chord shapes that will allow you to fit anything in them. So what are those chord shapes? The C shape, the A shape, the G shape, the E shape, and the D shape. CAGED. C-A-G-E-D. And the shapes that we're referring to are the open chord shapes. So I'm going to use an acoustic guitar here to show you what's going on. The chords that we're talking about in the CAGED system are the open chords. Those first chords that you learn when you're strumming an acoustic guitar. The open C chord, the open A, the open G, the open E, the open D. CAGED, C-A-G-E-D. And it's not the name of the chords that you need to look at, but rather the shape of the chord and the characteristic within that shape. So if I take an open C chord, where's the root? The root of that chord is on the 5th string. And where does that chord happen? Does it happen the right side or the left side from your perspective when you're looking? It happens on the left side. So any chord shape or any musical element that has its root on the 5th string and happens on the left side will be tied to that chord shape, the open C shape. Okay? And each of these 5 chords, C, A, G, E, D, in their open positions, have different characteristics. Where's the root and where does the chord happen in relation to that root? And you'll see that if we cover these 5 chords, we can match any musical element to those characteristics. So, briefly, the characteristic of the C note is root on the 5th string, happens on the left side. Characteristic of A, root on the 5th string, happens on the right side. Characteristic of G, root on the 6th string, happens on the left side. Characteristic of V, root on the low E string, the 6th string, happens on the right side. Because the root is open and happens on the right side. Characteristic of D, root is on the 5th string. Characteristic of the D chord, root is on the 4th string, happens on the right side. Now you might ask, what about, let's say, a chord or a musical element that has the root on the 4th string and happens on the left side? What about that one? Well, that one is going to be the E shape. Why? Because you have octaves. And if you look at your E shape, you've got a root on the low E string and an octave on the 4th string. And on that 4th string, that happens on the left side. And that's the E shape. So how do you apply that? Let's say that we have an A minor pentatonic scale in its first position. So it's an A. A is the root, but that has nothing to do with the CAGED system. It's not the A within the CAGED system. The root is A, and you look at the shape. Look at the characteristic of that position. We have the root on the low E string. It happens on the right side. Which of the chords of C, A, G, E, D share that characteristic? Which of C, A, G, E, D has the root on the low E string and happens on the right side? Well, it's the E shape, because an open E chord has the root on the low E string, happens on the right side. So that shape is tied to the characteristics of the E shape. Now, are we an E? No, not at all. We're an A minor pentatonic. But that A minor pentatonic is an E shape within the CAGED system. Does that make sense? And you can tie any musical element to that. And that helps you organize your thoughts in your fretboard. But that's what the CAGED system is. It's just finding those characteristic notes, which you should memorize. CAGED, where's the root? Where does the chord happen in relation to that root? And tie those characteristics to any musical element you're studying. This is going to help you memorize your fretboard better. It's going to help you phrase better because it allows you to stay within one area of the fretboard. And when you phrase better, your music is better, and it's just a great way to memorize your fretboard. So that's what the CAGED system is. Thank you so much, everyone, for asking the questions. If you have another one that you want me to cover in a future episode, leave it below. I'll do that. And thank you for watching my videos. You guys are great. Remember that Mondays are masterclass days. I'm going to do that for a little while until I get burned out, and then we'll move on to something else. But there's one plan for this Monday, so check that out. And Friday, we will have another video too. And videos pretty much often here. Thank you for watching this. If you want to support what I do, check out the guitarplayback.com. Make a purchase. Awesome. Thank you. I will see you next time. Until then, salut.